Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a high-stakes story of technological evolution in the skies. What we're really looking at here is a multi-billion-dollar relay race between two absolutely incredible fighter jets. A race that spans decades of intense engineering, rapidly shifting geopolitical landscapes, and a pretty fierce battle over the U.S. defense budget. To get why this matters right now, we've got to talk about the year 2032. See, the U.S. Air Force initially wanted to retire some of its most elite, expensive fighter jets to save some cash. But Congress stepped in and basically said, no way, you have to wait until at least 2032. Section 1. The F-22's Unexpected Reprieve. Why the Raptor isn't retiring yet. So we're looking at a critical moment where current global threats totally collided with future development plans. Through an amendment proposed by Representative Austin Scott, Congress outright blocked the retirement of 32 older training jets, which are known as Block 20s. By extending this retirement ban all the way out to September 30, 2032, they mandated that the entire fleet of 184 F-22s stays fully operational. Why? Well, lawmakers realized it was absolutely crucial to maintain unmatched deterrence in highly contested environments like the Pacific, especially when you consider how fast rivals are advancing their own tech. Section 2. The Raptor's Costly Dominance. Unmatched tech, astronomical price. To understand why the Air Force even considered retiring them in the first place, we have to talk about what they do and what they cost. The F-22 Raptor is, frankly, the undisputed heavyweight champion of pure air superiority. I mean, it literally does things almost no other jet can do. It's got two-dimensional thrust vectoring for these crazy, physics-defying maneuvers. It can supercruise at speeds over Mach 1.5, that's roughly 1,850 kilometers per hour, without even touching the afterburners. Throw in a radar signature that's estimated from certain angles to be about the size of a steel marble, and you've got an aircraft that dictates the entire fight before the adversary even knows it's there. But wow, that kind of dominance comes at a staggering premium. When you spread the massive research and development costs across a tiny operational fleet of just 187 active units, the per-unit price tag balloons to over $300 million. And since they actually shut down the production line way back in 2012, keeping them flying today is incredibly expensive. We're talking highly complex, specialized maintenance on stealth coatings and composite materials. So how do these jets actually fit into the modern Air Force ecosystem? Think of it like a highly specialized team. The F-22 is your pure dogfighter. Its whole job is to kick down the door, clear the skies, and establish absolute dominance. Then, once that path is clear, in comes the highly connected, super versatile F-35 Lightning II to exploit those openings, penetrate lower-frequency radar defenses, and carry out strike missions. They really rely on each other to maximize their effectiveness. Section 3. Enter the F-47 Phoenix, the next-generation replacement. With an aging F-22 fleet, sky-high maintenance costs, and rivals pumping out their own stealth fighters, the U.S. desperately needed a game-changer. Enter the Next-Generation Air Dominance Program. In a massive industry shift back in March 2025, Boeing scored an engineering and manufacturing development contract worth over $20 billion. Their mission? Build the sixth-generation fighter that's going to eventually take the torch from the F-22 Raptor. And the name they chose is this perfect blend of aviation history and modern politics. Air Force officials point out that the 47 designation honors the legendary World War II P-47 Thunderbolt, and it pays tribute to 1947, which is the year the Air Force was actually founded. It also gives a nod to the 47th president who officially announced the program. On top of all that, an early design patch from the Air Combat Command gave it a really striking and highly fitting unofficial nickname, the Phoenix. Now, what is genuinely staggering here is the timeline. This thing is moving at breakneck speed. We actually know now that secret experimental X-planes were already up and flying back in 2020. With Boeing locking down the contract in 2025, the Air Force expects the first flight of the actual F-47 by 2028. And they have this incredibly aggressive goal of getting the jet operational by 2029. Section 4. Next-Generation Air Dominance. How the F-47 leaps ahead. Let's talk specs, because the technological leaps here are nothing short of profound. Air Force Chief of Staff General David Allvin pointed out that the F-47 is going to boast even more advanced stealth and top speeds blowing past Mach 2. But the real kicker? The combat radius. We're talking over 1,000 nautical miles, which is a massive 70% improvement over the F-22. That is absolutely vital for operating across the sheer, unforgiving vastness of the Pacific Ocean. Plus, it's being designed from the ground up to be far more sustainable, needing a lot less manpower and infrastructure to actually deploy. But honestly, the biggest game changer isn't just the jet itself, it's how it's going to fight. The program is fully integrating what are called collaborative combat aircraft. Basically, we're moving away from the classic lone wolf dogfighter concept and into a family of systems. The crewed F-47 will fly alongside these uncrewed drone wingmen, which can carry extra munitions, act as advanced sensors, and even carry out independent tactical missions on their own. To really wrap your head around the scale of this new doctrine, think about the planned fleet makeup. Instead of fighting solo, a force of roughly 200 crewed F-47s will command up to 1,000 of these advanced drones. It's a strategy designed to exponentially multiply the combat mass of the Air Force. You take a smaller number of these very expensive crewed fighters, and you use them to project just immense, overwhelming power. Section 5. Bridging the capability gap. Why the U.S. needs both jets right now. So, you're probably wondering, if the F-47 is so amazing and development is moving so quickly, why on earth did Congress fight tooth and nail to keep the old F-22s flying until 2032? Well, the F-47's journey hasn't exactly been smooth sailing. Back in mid-2024, Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall actually had to hit pause on the whole program. The projected costs had just skyrocketed. We're talking 3 times the price of an F-35. That massive sticker shock triggered a really intense internal review to figure out if they were actually on the right path. But despite that eye-watering price tag, the internal review came back with a definitive answer. Major General Joseph Kunkel made it perfectly clear in early 2025 to counter the emerging 6th-generation threats popping up from adversaries, building the F-47 isn't just an option, it is an absolute strategic necessity. There was literally no other viable way to guarantee air superiority in the future. And that brings us right back to this critical strategic handoff. Look, the current U.S. fighter fleet is aging, it's under intense structural pressure, and replacement delays definitely aren't helping. At the exact same time, rivals like China are rapidly pushing out their J-20 fighters and massively upgrading their air defenses. So, keeping the veteran F-22 fleet fully active through 2032 is the bridge we desperately need. The Raptor's stealth and sensor fusion are irreplaceable force multipliers today. By forcing the military to hold on to all 184 jets, Congress is basically ensuring the U.S. doesn't dip below a dangerous red line of combat readiness while we wait for the F-47 to mature. Which leaves us all with a pretty heavy question to ponder. As we make this massive leap from the legendary Raptor to the drone-commanding Phoenix, with tens of billions of dollars on the line and global security kind of hanging in the balance, what is the true ultimate cost of dominating the skies in the 21st century? It's a question that lawmakers, engineers, and strategists are going to be wrestling with for the next decade. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you next time.